I am an artist. I'm not an athlete, as my hat might try to fool you into believing. Over the last little while, I've been referencing hockey a lot as this rekindled passion from my youth that I've just been having a lot of fun watching and studying and learning to appreciate again, getting to know all the players and all that kind of fun stuff. And if you've been following hockey, which I imagine most artists don't, as I haven't in the last 30 years, then if you have been following lately and you are familiar with my home team, the Montreal Canadiens, then you'll know that very recently we had our asses handed to us by the Carolina Hurricanes. They exposed us to our weaknesses. They exploited the death out of them, and they showed us what really, really organized, focused players can do. And it was an amazing learning lesson, and I'm very grateful for that. And if you think about sports in general, which you probably don't, if you are an athlete, if you think like an athlete, if you think like a performer, then what motivates a hockey player, for instance, or any kind of athlete, is entirely different from what motivates me as an artist. And it's that difference in personality that led to me becoming an artist ultimately, because I felt that psychologically artwork fit my psychology. I was raised by an artist in an artist ecosystem. I feel like an artist. I express like an artist. But more importantly, my brain works on an artistic frequency. It does not function on an athletic frequency. And that's why being a hockey player professionally ended up not becoming my aspiration the moment things got serious. The moment there was a demand and a pressure to be something more than just a passionate young hockey player. So I abandoned it. But as I've been watching the playoffs, and I've been listening to the commentary and how people talk about the game and the technical breakdowns of these different games and the post-game interviews with the players to find out what were you thinking and what went on in your head and where did things go wrong and what led to this outcome, you can get insight into the psyche of an athlete, how they regard themselves and how they feel, how they regard success versus failure. And it's so entirely different than artists. But here's the thing, and this is the reason why I'm bringing up a hockey reference again, or an athlete, a performer's psychology into this in the first place. It's because artists very often have the wrong mindset. Artists very often interpret and pursue success in failure, I would argue, more similarly to what athletes do than what artists should do. Because what an artist has to overcome is a very different hurdle, psychologically and personally. An athlete, if you're a member of a team, then you're a member of a team. Individual hockey players do not win. Teams win. That group effort is what matters. It's a collaborative. Everybody has their role in a process, and if they fail at their role, then they're regarded as an asset, as a lot of people put it, which I find incredibly dehumanizing. They regard these assets as not performing as well statistically and technically as the rest of the team. They end up having to sit on the sidelines while some more capable, better performer, higher statistic player takes their place. And the end goal of an athlete is, I want that trophy. And what Montreal and Carolina were fighting for was the Eastern Conference Cup, to win the Eastern Conference Final. And whoever won that is now going after the Stanley Cup Final, the big final East versus West competition that's been going on for decades and decades and decades, long before I was born. That's the end goal. That they spend the entire year training, practicing, studying, learning to work together as a team, rebuilding their team, restructuring, re-strategizing, re-coaching, until eventually they have a recipe that helps them to push to that final result, to the top of the mountain. And whoever wins is the winner. More importantly, everybody who doesn't win is a loser. Womp womp. So there's only one person, only one group that can succeed. And every other one of them leave that rink, leave their home crowd of hundreds of thousands of screaming fans with their tails between the legs, feeling ashamed and feeling like losers. And when I produced my hockey video, I produced a video just before Montreal lost that fifth game against Carolina and they were officially eliminated. I went online, being an art channel, to a lot of people's confusion. I apologize if I was confusing you, but I'm passionate. I like to stand behind people I'm passionate about, to let them know, whether they gave a shit or not, because I'm an art channel, they probably didn't, that they were already successes in my book. Hello, Gimli. Okay, you want to come join Dad? Here you go. There we go. Okay, you can come join us. That they were already successes because, having followed hockey for several years, if you were, you'd know that that Montreal has been nowhere near where they have been as of late. So they've accomplished something monumental as a team and as the youngest team in the NHL. The oldest player in their entire team is their captain, who's 26 years old. So they're between 20 and 26 years old. That's very young, if you think about it, where they're going up against teams that are 35, 36, which is considered ancient in athletic language, but not to artists, because Chuck Jones was drawing till the day he died. He never stopped drawing Bugs Bunny. Artists continue to work and produce and can sometimes create their greatest works up until the days they die. Zdzisław Beksiński was assassinated. He was murdered. He was painting till the day he died. He was productive. He was listening to his music. He was having fun and growing until his life was taken from him. And that's the reality that you, my dear artist, are aspiring to. And if you're young, if you're somebody who's only in their late teens, early 20s, you're kind of at that age right now where you're really starting to take things seriously and you're really pushing yourself into a professional caliber. One of the things that I see artists do very often, being somebody who teaches all the time, is artists that are incredibly hard on themselves every single time they, quote, fail a painting. Every time they can't achieve what they want to achieve, and they come out the other end of it feeling frustrated and in need of guidance, there's this there's this shame, there's this upset, there's this frustration, there's this apologetic energy that comes towards me, like, oh yeah, I know I should be doing better at my age, it takes me so long to paint something, or I know I should be better by now, or oh yeah, I've been trying to work on this comic book forever and I barely got anything to show for it. And there's this kind of shame that goes with it. And the reason why artists feel that way is because they think that they're distancing themselves from that trophy, from that Stanley Cup for artists. What artists don't realize is that there's no cup, there's no trophy. There's only your own success. That the only obstacle, the only real hurdle that an artist should be focusing on is overcoming themselves. It's just becoming a better version of themselves, is growing and taking it one step at a time. That to an artist, it's not one big end goal. I mean, I've been doing this for over 30 years. There's no end goal. I've got the longest journey ahead of me, and the only thing that's going to end my journey is when I croak. That's the end of it. If I croak next year or if I croak in 100 years, I don't know. But I'm going to keep growing. I'm going to try to get as much growth and try to create things that have meaning to me and timestamp the world that we live in through our tastes, through the art that we watch, to the things that we care about. I want to immortalize the things that I love as much as I can, as effectively as I can, until eventually somebody just pulls the plug and says, okay, game over, you're done. Until then, I have no intention on stopping. I'm not going to dry up and become there's no opportunity to lose. I'm not going to become obsolete. I didn't become obsolete when I was 35 years old, like a lot of hockey players feel like they do. The hockey industry, the Montreal Canadiens, suffered a really, really devastating loss. Claude Lemieux, who is a legendary Montreal Habs player, he's the one, he carried the torch at the Bell Center in Montreal to light the torch. And at the beginning of every game, they always have a legendary player like Claude Lemieux, for instance, who will take a torch and they'll walk through the crowd to the adoring screams of the crowd, and they'll go in the middle and they'll light the torch, and they have this kind of beautiful effect on the ice where it looks like the entire skating rink catches fire. If you go check it out, it's really beautiful. It's very moving to see that. He had a smile on his face, his beautiful blue eyes, a very handsome man, beautiful stature, walks out with this big smile on his face to the looks of smiles and adoration and love and respect. And there's his name hanging off the banisters, and he lights the torch and he smiles to everybody, and the game starts. 2 days later, he takes his life. What the fuck? What the fuck? What? He looked so good. He looked so happy. Why did he do that? Well, probably there's a million personal reasons, things that he's been through. But to a hockey player, you're in a burnout culture that will break every bone in your body and drain every single bit of emotional stability you have to get that fucking cup, because that's the end goal. And if you don't get a chance to win that cup by the time you hit retirement age, which is usually around your mid-30s at latest, well, you missed your chance. And what then? Well, then you hang up your skates. Maybe if you're lucky, you become an awesome hockey coach like Brin d'Amour, who's now coaching Hurricanes, who's now coaching Carolina. But apart from that, you're just a retiree at 35 with an entire life ahead of yourself, and who knows what. Is that one of the reasons why Claude took his life? I don't know. We don't know his personal life, but you can see how that smile must have been incredibly performative, incredibly superficial, because he felt like his best days were behind him. But to the rest of us, there's a reason why I get up every morning and I take care of myself, and I go to the gym at 6 a.m. and I take care of my diet and my sleep, and I take care of my relationships with my family and my kids, and I'm always worrying about living the highest quality life possible, and I'm 50 years old. It's because as an artist at 50, I'm a newborn. I'm an infant. If you count me in artist years, in hockey years, I'm already retired. I've already got the walker and the cane and the Viagra at this point. But as a 50-year-old artist, I'm young, I'm youthful, I'm full of hope and aspirations. One of the big psychological shifts that I needed to make as an artist was to realize that there is no trophy. And it took me over 20 years to realize that. There's no Stanley Cup for artists. No. Every single work of art that you produce, that you finish, that you push yourself through, the challenge of creating, every work of art that you produce is your own personal trophy. Understand that every single one of those steps in your life was a new trophy at a new phase in your life, and you're going to continue to win new trophies, and those trophies are going to be more beautiful and more personal and more meaningful every single day of your life, until the day Mother Nature pulls the plug on you too, in which case you got nothing to worry about, because you'll be dead at that point. When I talk to artists one-on-one and I hear that apologetic tone, I see that discontent, I see that frustration, that, I know, I should have more to show for it. This is the most artwork I've got in my portfolio. I'm seeing somebody who believes that they failed because they haven't won the trophy yet. But they don't realize that every single work of art that they've produced, no matter how much they like it or hate it, every single work of art that they've produced up till that point was them winning the war against themselves, against their own limitations, against their own psychology, against their own self-doubt, against their own technical frustrations, against their own inability to express themselves fluidly in an artistic sense. Every single one of those works of art is a way of saying, I don't give a shit if it hurts. I'm going to do it anyways. Because the ends justify the means. You know you're an artist if you can push yourself through the pain more than once, more than 10 times, more than 20 times. Because what you're proving, just like these professional athletes are proving, is that even when you have broken bones and you've sprained a ligament in your hand and you've got a sprained ankle and you still get up on that skates and you go, that that you're a professional and this is something that you love so much that you're willing to push through the pain. But the beauty and the value of being an artist is the fact that you're not going to have broken bones. You're just going to have a few broken hearts. You're not going to retire at 30. You're going to retire at 130. And that there's no limitation to the successes and the trophies that you're going to achieve as long as you realize that it's not about achieving what somebody else has achieved. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. And when you can fall in love with that artist, when you can truly fall in love with who you are at your core and celebrate each success, each personal challenge, you got nothing to worry about. You're doing it right. Just keep going. Sound good? With that said, I love you all with all my heart, and happy painting. Go Habs. Oh no, they already lost. Go Hurricanes. Take care.